Welcome to the Young Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Melina, and I'm super excited to bring you this podcast where we explore the journeys and advice of successful leaders. Today's guest is a senior director of VaynerMedia and the chief paint officer at his own art venture. Known for his vibrant presence on social media, he has gained over 30 million organic views showcasing his art talent. I'm super excited to learn about his expertise in driving impactful campaigns. So please welcome Aengus Boyle. Hello, Aengus. Welcome to the Young Leaders Podcast. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm super excited to talk about everything that you've done at VaynerMedia. But before that, we're going to start off with a mystery question that was left by our previous guest. Are you ready?
I am.
The question is, if you had 3 takeaways that you would want to give for a young entrepreneur or someone who doesn't even know if they're going to be like an entrepreneur yet, what would be those 3 tips?
Keep going is number one, because I feel like, I've had many a failed entrepreneurial venture in my life, and I think the only cause of failure really is like giving up. So keep going, don't give up, because that's the most surefire way to make sure you don't fail. Make more content, because I think in general, for most, if not all, entrepreneurial ventures or like any business ventures, like putting content out in social media is a huge beneficial factor, or I think a way that you can, and particularly like looking at like social media platforms and organic content, the more content you put out, the more chance you have of getting seen by someone who might be the right person who can help you, or who might make a purchase from your business or whatever it is. I think the more content you put out, the better. So I think it's that video that's the reason I'm on this podcast, which is again to that point of like putting content out on social media. Like that was one video that A, reached like over 300,000 people, and B, won me this trip. So
you just got to go on a trip where you got to go to each of the 15 VaynerMedia offices, I believe, around the world. How was that?
VaynerMedia had a contest where it was like put out to the whole global organization to celebrate 15 years of the company. They wanted to send 2 people to like, it's actually 2 teams of 2. My team went to 7 different offices, and then the other team went to another 7. And then we all met up in New York at the end to sort of 7 plus 7 plus 1 being all 15 offices to celebrate 15 years. But the competition was basically whoever could get the most views on a LinkedIn video would win this trip. Was whoever could get the most views on a LinkedIn video. And so I basically made a video. Well, I spent days thinking about the video and deciding what I was going to make. Because I was like, this is such a sick opportunity. How can I figure out how to win this trip, basically? And so I opted for a very clickbaity style video where, for anyone who doesn't know, Gary V, is like the CEO of the company I work for. He's quite a well-known internet personality talking about business and entrepreneurship and that sort of thing. So I basically, the hook of my video was saying the secret truth about working for Gary Vaynerchuk. Basically made the whole video to seem like it was like I'm an employee who's like revealing everything about this secret truth about what it's actually like to work for Gary, or what he's actually like. And had this build up, which was all designed to try and retain people watching the video, because I know the longer that someone watches a video for, the more the algorithm tends to like push that out to get seen by more people. And then at the last second had a twist where it was like the big reveal was the fact that it's better than I ever imagined it could be, and that there was this contest going on, and if people could comment or whatever, help share the video, that could help me win. So ended up working out, and I then got to travel on a pretty insane trip in December got to go to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, India, Japan, and America. So a full lap of the world, basically.
Well, that must have been fun. So how does it feel to actually be working at VaynerMedia with Gary V?
And yeah, it's an amazing company, and it's also, like just a really cool company to work for. It's very fast growing. I joined in 2016 in our London office, and there was like 20 people, and now there's probably like 150 plus people across Europe. So it's been a pretty exciting and fun journey over the last 8 years to see it grow like that. And then in the US, it's even bigger and grown more kind of thing. So very fun.
I feel like Gary has that sort of charm that makes you feel like everything's unreal. Like when he did that deal with me where he'd be my 55th guest for at least 3 days, I wasn't sure if it was real or if I was dreaming or what was going on. So he's kind of got that, I guess, um, vibe that makes you feel like things aren't real, which is super magical and cool. And so, what's your favorite part about working at VaynerMedia? Do you do like the marketing and the campaigns?
I mean, we work for clients, so we do like marketing for clients. I work on the media team, which is kind of like the creative team makes the ads. So if you see like a video on social media, like our creative team would make that. And if you see an ad, my team is the team that's kind of spending the money to get it seen and targeting who the ads get seen by and like analyzing the data and optimizing where we sort of spend the money for our clients over time. Um, which is super interesting. And then we can give feedback to the creative team of like, oh, this video is doing better than this video, or messaging about this, or like people are dropping off here, maybe can we edit this video so it will have better retention or whatever it is. But in terms of my favorite thing, I think definitely the people is always the answer I give. Two things. I think the people, because it's just like such a fun people who are also super hardworking and like to get a job done. So it's like a nice combination. And the second thing is what I said, like how fast the company's growing, which means there's just so many opportunities along with that growth for everyone who works here.
Right. And you also have your art company on the side. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so art by Aengus is what I call it. I was very late to the game of painting, but in 2020 when COVID happened, I had been dabbling. I'd done a few paintings over the course of the last 10 years of my life. Like, did one, enjoyed it, didn't do it for another year and a half or 2 years, then did another one, enjoyed it, didn't do it, didn't think about it. And a friend of mine in 2019 was like, oh, I'm going to get a canvas and do some painting. And I was like, oh, I'll join you. Did that, had fun, had a few more canvases that I bought. And then as COVID sort of kicked off, I had these canvases. And then that was when I got really into it. And it sort of became an obsession. And then, yeah, I've done hundreds of paintings since, put on an art show, and made a lot of content about art.
How do you balance your two roles then with doing art and obviously being busy at VaynerMedia?
The art is very much an after hours hobby, passion, side hustle kind of thing. So it's like, showing up during the day for the work side of things and then finding the time. And I think I was actually working on another potential side hustle thing at the same time. And then I realized that it was kind of like, felt like more work. And then the art was this thing I was doing for fun as like another thing. And then I realized like, oh, there's potential to make that art thing a side hustle. That could be like a money making thing. So why not do the thing that I'm doing for fun rather than make this other thing that feels like more work? So I think that's a big factor, is the fact that the art side of things. I mean, certain things like updating the website, I haven't done that in a long time and I really need to. To me seems like work more. And so those things are less, I'm less like, but like the actual painting is like, that's the thing I do for fun. So that's,
Right, yeah. Updating the websites is, I think, one of the most annoying parts of it is you have to update it. So, what would be like some advice that you would have for young marketers who are looking to get into the industry of marketing?
that most of the information and things you need to learn are already out there for free. So like search for things on YouTube, follow people like Gary Vee, and like Google, Facebook, Snapchat, all these different platforms have like loads and loads of free trainings and like free certifications you can do and stuff. The Meta one, I think you have to pay like $100 for, but like Google, you can do all these different certifications and courses for free completely. So like you can very easily develop a skill set and like develop, kind of get educated and get proof points that you're educated. Like, hey, I've done all these different courses with Google and I've got all these different certifications. That like there's very quick and easy and free, well, not easy because you have to actually do the learning, but like there's free ways that you can get that experience.
And so, out of when it comes to the marketing, like what's been like the best tactic that you think is going to work with the upcoming years, especially with AI coming in? Like, do you think it's better to use AI generated marketing, or should you do it by yourself? What do you think is like better?
I think there is. I think you can use AI for helping make ideas is a big thing, but I don't think it necessarily is quite at the. I mean, I think in another 2 or 3 years, it potentially the answer will be like AI can do most things. But I think at the moment, the output isn't necessarily there. But I think the way I think it's super valuable to use is like almost as like a partner to brainstorm and to build ideas with. So if you have like, if you say, hey, uh, I want to make, I've got an art business and I want to make some posts on social media to market the art business. Can you give me some ideas of like how, of like what the topics I could talk about are or whatever? It can give you a big list and then you can look through and be like, oh yeah, these two are the ones I want to do more. And then you can get it to develop more of those ideas of like, write me a script for a YouTube video based on this idea. So you can use it to help brainstorm and to help do some of the work, but then I would just caution like add your own personality and those sorts of things because it's like the stuff that comes out of AI is still quite sort of robotic or a bit boring. So like making sure you add some personality and make it a bit interesting as well, I think. One more thing before I do on the marketing thing is I think kind of to the point of that video I talked about with the that I used to win that contest, like thinking through trying to understand, and this is particularly for like marketing on social media and like trying to go viral, let's say on social media, which has just loads of upside benefits, is like the things that I think about that are most important for making a piece of content that has the potential to go viral is having a strong hook. So, you know, thinking and really imagining. I sometimes, some of the videos I've made that have gone the most viral, I like have closed my eyes and like imagined scrolling through TikTok, let's say, and thinking like what would really capture my attention, because you only have like 2 seconds really of like the first 2 seconds to really capture someone's attention, and if you don't in those first 2 seconds, and it's like both visually what are they seeing and what are you saying or what are they hearing, like all of those different elements, how is that like going to actually stop someone and make them want to watch? And that's the first thing you need to do, and then the second thing you need to do is keep their attention. So how are you like paying off on that hook? It's like you, I don't know, the secret truth by Gary Vee. Exactly. Exactly. So how are you retaining that? How are you keeping them interested, keeping them sort of wanting to stay hooked? And the combination of those two things, I think, is like the key to I guess virality or to yeah, driving that reach.
Okay, perfect. And before we end off, could you leave a mystery question for our next guest?
Should it be? Can it just be completely anything? Should it be business related? Anything.
It could be anything. It doesn't have to be related to anything. That's the fun. You have to kind of, I guess, scare them with your question.
How can we make the world a better place?
Okay.
Deep, deep philosophical stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting one for our next guest.
Love it. What number
Well, thank
podcast is this, by the way, out of interest? How close to
this
55 are
one.
you getting?
So I've released 7 episodes. You are my ninth episode, by the way.
Nice. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so we're getting there.
Slowly but surely. That's like 20% of the way there, pretty much. I like it.
Yes, it's super exciting. Well, thank you so much, Angus. This was an amazing conversation, and I do hope that our viewers enjoyed this just as much as I did.
Me too.